Hello viewers, I'd like to talk a bit about on the topic of injuries in the bush when you're hiking, trekking or camping, things like that. Currently at the moment I'm experiencing a reoccurring medical problem with my left arm and hand in that I can't use my hand in coordination of left arm is very difficult. Brings up the topic. I'm not whining about this injury. There are people out there that are far worse off than I am. It brings up the topic I discussed on a forums in the old days. What happens if you sustain an injury in the bush or the woods, wherever you may be, where particularly with your hands and your arms you become incapacitated through an injury. You might fall over, take a tumble, sprain a wrist, you might cut your hand or your arm or something like that. Something that incapacitates one of your hands or arms or that sort of thing. And it brings up a point where I set up my gear a long time ago with this in view, where if that happened I could use most of my gear one-handed. Now, to give you a couple of examples, got a box of matches here which I keep in my fire lighting kit. I can open that, pull a match out, operate it with one hand. I could probably hold that between my boots and strike the match. Fire steel and striker. This is one I made up many years ago with a wooden handle. This one I cannot use in the pure sense that you need both hands to operate it. You've got the magnesium rod there and you've got the striker there. I might be able to get away with using it if I hold that between my boots. Bit awkward. Magnesium blocks, these sort of things, you still need two hands, basically two hands. One to scrape a bit of magnesium off and two to operate the striker with. These two items here I've included in my kit in case I can only have one hand that's fully in use. Cigarette lighter, matches, plan A, plan B, plan Z, whatever you want to call it. Char, small tin here. I can make my own char once I get the fire going out of natural materials in the bush. Renewable char works very well. There's a video on my YouTube back in the early days I think about making that stuff. But that's something you might want to consider with your gear, the way you pack it, what sort of type of gear you carry, particularly with fire lighting, water bottles. I'll give you an example. Just move this out of the way. This is one of my bush belts. Simple things like opening that, having a drink of water. You can do it pretty well one-handed. It's also got one of those steel canteens in it. Howling Dingo did a review on one of those, and it's one of the ones I use. I can't get that out of there with one hand. I can probably get it out with using my boot or clamping it between my boots. Things like straps on your backpacks, day packs, whatever the case may be. Can you do that one-handed? Okay. And the other question is, I'm right-handed. That's my dominant hand and arm. You've got to think about, and I suggest you do strongly think about, what happens if your dominant hand and arm becomes incapacitated. Can you do it with your other good arm and hand? And it may well be a good idea to look at your gear, the way you pack it, and practice with your offhand, the one that's not dominant. Where you can do these straps up, buckles, particularly on this bush belt. This is one of two or three I've got. These types of buckles. Okay. Now most of the time you're going to need two hands just to wrap it around your waist, pull it up and clip these belt buckles up. So that's one sort of thing. Other gear you might carry in there, set a pair of binoculars I've got there, some sort of multi-tool in there and so on. So, and things like this. Okay, so there's a thought for you. it's something I'm experiencing right at the moment. I've got it. Whoops, that's come off. Have fun getting that back on. I've got to see a spine specialist next week, but it's something that in real time, this has happened to me, and I'm actually grounded at the moment. I can't get out there in the bush and hike and that sort of thing because it's very, very difficult, bordering on impossible for some activities. The other thing I'd like to mention too is boots. Now, there's no hard and fast rule about boots as long as they're good boots for whatever your reason, what type of terrain you're hiking in, all seasons, that sort of thing. These boots, these are my hiking boots. These are the ones I wore in October last year when I was visiting Paul's Outdoors, and do have a look at his YouTube. Very good YouTube. But if you've got laced up boots, pretty hard to do single-handed. There are ways of doing it. One of my other types of boots are a good ankle high, and that's what they call military lacing, where you can just pull it. It's laced up in a certain way, so you can just do it up one hand, wrap around the ankle and tie it off, or tuck it under, whatever the case may be. But other boots, zippers on, and this is what I wear around the house and when I'm out in the bush. Now I can get that, that's my right boot, so I can, it's laced up for single socking at the moment, so I can, with a bit of difficulty, it's a little bit difficult, but I can get that boot on and off with the aid of this zipper. That's that zipper there. Okay, put it on your foot, drag the zip up, do the Velcro up. So it's probably another idea you might want to look at, your footwear, how you get it on and off if you're single-handed. So that's basically it at the moment. Backpacks, yes, with harnesses, straps, that sort of thing. Can you get them on and off single-handed? Can you do up the straps, shoulder straps, or the strap that comes across your chest here? There are backpacks out there that have sort of like a bandolier type situation where you need both hands to put it on, pull the buckles together and clip them together, that sort of thing. So I can only speak from my experience and what I'm going through at the moment. So and a good practice, as I mentioned previously, okay, right hand, no problems. Left hand, no, it's just not going to work. But whatever your offhand is, look at your gear and look at it from a perspective that that may be the only hand or arm you can use, you know, through injury in the bush or whatever the case may be. So you've sort of got to try and become ambidextrous, or try and work out a way to do it up, whether you use, I don't know, your legs or your knees, or your boots in some instances, that sort of thing. And just have a good look at your gear and see what you can do with one-handed. Now that's apart from, it's galaxies apart. So I've just opened it up one hand, and I can operate that one-handed. That's a blast match. That's the way I've worked my gear out mostly, to in the case of injury, at least I can light a fire, signal fire, campfire, whatever the case may be. So just close it up and away we go. Alright folks, hope this has been a bit informative to you. This has happened to me real time. No, it's definitely not staged. I'm doped up on painkillers and muscle relaxants at the moment. No, I'm not looking for sympathy. It's just a fact of life I've got to live with for the time being. But it's a good example of what can happen in the bush with an injury or something like that. Look at your gear. Can you use it one-handed? Can you use it clamping your feet or your knees or your legs? Can you do belts up? Bush belts, that sort of thing. Even buttons on shirts, jackets, your pants. Any buttons on there or zippers or anything like that. Can you do it one-handed? Alright, thanks for watching. See you later.